Today's Guitar Pass lesson, we're just going to do a cool thing of getting to know the fretboard, playing the major scale in every key, gradually learning all the notes on the fretboard really, using one pattern. I'm going to do another lesson that has another pattern that uses the same system. It kind of uses the system of how the guitar is tuned, how each string is in relation to each other. And you get to do this pattern and repeat it, but you do have to shift a little on the second string. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of treated as like a warm-up, but you're kind of getting a little bit of music theory and a little bit to get to know the fretboard, especially in the major scale. So it's just a cool thing to do, and I think you're going to get value out of it. So enjoy. Hey, before we start the lesson, just want to let you know there's a 14-day free trial at guitarpass.com. Check out the description below and enjoy the lesson. All right, here we go. We're going to do this pattern, this one pattern across the fretboard. But first, let me tell you, we're going to use the 5th fret as an example here. First, let's kind of just see the relationship between the strings, right? So if I'm pressing this note, that's A. If I press this note on the 5th string, it's D. So A, B, C, D. So this string is 4 away from this one. Now if I was going this direction, D to A, that would be a, D, E, F, G, A. That would be a 5th away. So you can look at it different ways. We're going to look at it just this way, like because we're going to go down this way. So A to D is 4 away. So 4 away from D now, if I'm going to the next string, D, E, F, G. There's G. That's a G note. Same with G, A, B, C. That's that note. So now the 4th away from C, we have C, D, E, F. Well, that's an E, but here's an F. So that's the note I want. So it's actually, there's going to be this pattern where the relationship of the strings kind of go, on the second string, you're always moving a half step sharp to kind of match the, like if I was doing a pattern, I could do it starting here, 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 but when I get to the second string, I'm going to have to shift it a half step. And then to keep going to the next string, 4 away from F, F, G, A, B. Well, B, in the key of F, B is flat. That's a B flat. So the pattern, even if you don't fully understand this yet, just kind of follow me on this. There's more to it, but for our purposes, we just got to know that anytime we go to the second string, we're going to go a half step or 1 fret sharp, and then keep going. Okay? So there we go. There's that out of the way. Now we're going to do a pattern here. You might know it, you might not, but it's kind of a classic first 1 octave major scale. We're going to start with our second finger on the 5th fret, 6th string, and follow me here. And each string is going to have their own little pattern, right? So notice that visually. These guys are going to be just that. The next string, we're going to go 1st, 2nd, pinky. Remember, it's finger per fret, so when I call out the fingers, you know to go on that fret. So 5, 7, and then we have 4, 5, 7, just like that. And then this one is, and that's an octave of A. So we have, right? Good one to know. That's your A major scale. But let's just kind of keep going here. We're going to go start here on the D, do the same pattern. Sweet. Keep on going. Now I got D major. Now let's start here on G. Same pattern. This guy does this. Uh-oh, I'm on my 2nd string. That doesn't sound right. I have to shift it over here and continue the pattern. So let's just try that again. We got all good. Shift. So there's our G major scale. All right, let's keep going. Now we're at C. Oh, we're on the 2nd string, so we got to do that move, and then continue the pattern. Right? Shift. right? So all the same pattern, we just had to shift it on that second. Now if I'm doing this C here on the third string, C, I can actually just, now I can just use that. It's more efficient to use my first finger and be in this fifth position and go. So I don't have to shift. We already know that that's part of it. Right, so that's pretty cool. Let's review. We have we'll start here. Pretty cool. So that is the major scale on all those keys all across, and you can do that anywhere on the fretboard. It's a great warm-up, but it's also just a good way to kind of see how with this one pattern you can do a whole bunch of stuff, and we're going to even look further. But what about these guys now? You know, so we just did the root notes here, and then so now we're going to shift down to F. We're going to do the same pattern, those two, and then the next one's this one, and then I'm out. Well, here's the trick. You do a whole step, and probably actually, let me try that again. I'm gonna first switch my first finger with my pinky here. Then I'm gonna go a whole step, 2 frets, and then I'm gonna finish the pattern. Right, that's the next one. So I have or you can do what I was going to do earlier is go a whole step and then switch. Whatever is easier for you to remember. But that is really neat. A whole step and then you can finish the pattern. That's kind of cool. And then now with this one, this is interesting. You can do that whole step trick between each pattern on one string. So I'll just use my, well, I'll do the fingering that I normally do. I'm going to start here, just so you can visualize it. Do the whole step. Now do the next pattern. Do a whole step, and now do the next pattern. I don't know if you can see that. So what's going on there is, maybe I'll, you might not be able to see that. I'm going to do it here in D. Excuse me. I'll do it in G, actually. You got your first pattern. Then you're going to do a whole step and do the next pattern. Whole step and do the next pattern. That's a major scale on one string. It's actually, it follows the formula of a, you can visualize the formula of a major scale on one string by going whole step, 2 frets, whole step, 2 frets, half step, and then 3 whole steps, and then half to the octave. That's G. So G to G. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Or we just found out our first pattern, do a whole step, do the next pattern, do a whole step, do the next pattern. Oh, hello, I didn't, let me do that again. Boom, whole step, my fingerings got all screwed up. And then whole step, switch my fingers. There we go. So that is pretty cool, right? So you can do a lot of, it's just good to know the notes of the fretboard. If someone people are always like, I want to memorize the notes of the fretboard. This is a system that you will gradually memorize the notes of the fretboard. But you also know the major scale in every position all over the fretboard just by doing that. Now, one thing, now to take this even further, we're not going to go too much longer on this. Just you treat it as a warm-up for now, but maybe do the maybe a mental note of I'm doing what root notes am I doing, and then you know, because you can kind of use this to know what notes are in a scale, and also that would translate to what chords are in a scale. You know, let's start with C. C right here. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Right? Great way to get to know the notes. If I was doing G with the same pattern, G, A, B, C, D, E, well, that's F sharp. And and then there's G. So F sharp is in the key of G. I know that because I'm just seeing what notes are laying on the pattern that I memorized. Again, you can do that with this as well. Whole, half, so that's G, A, B, C, then 3 wholes and a half. D, E, well that's F sharp, because here's F, so here's F sharp. So in that pattern, F is sharp, so now I know key of G has got F sharp. Really cool stuff. It's kind of like a little warm-up, getting to know the fretboard, getting a patterns going, and it's also some practical theory that does come in handy when I'm doing trying to learn a song and I'm trying to do a solo. I'm like, oh wait, that's out of that pattern. And then your fingering, you can kind of match your fingering and then it becomes more efficient and you get to kind of anticipate maybe more about, when you're learning more of the solo, you can kind of see where it goes. It really helps out. Now, one more thing to touch on. So now that I know this, because we kind of just learned a bunch of different, it's the same pattern, but there's kind of some different looks. And let's look at let's look at, how about C? Because if I just learn this pattern, let's take a look at it. So I have, here's C, here's the pattern we know and love. Well, this is also a C. So I can do the pattern there. I'm on my second string, so I gotta lower it, or higher it, I should say. Right, so I just did C there. That's my octave. Place it with my second finger, do the pattern. So I just know C there all of a sudden. That's pretty cool. And also when you're doing this kind of practice, it's good to go backwards and forwards. Especially the fingering there. Maybe I do this and then go that way. Choose whatever fingering works for you. Just knowing the pattern is the big thing, but try to be consistent with your fingering so that you can memorize it. So that's cool. Right there, that one pattern, I got 2 places to play C. In fact, right here, hello. I could keep going and then do that pattern. I could do, now also C is right here. Remember you shift down? We talked about we don't have to start with our second finger when it's on the root is on the 3rd string. You can just do it here. Here's a C. So that's a C. Right? Here's a C. So it's kind of a lot of ways. So I can like, play like do a looper or record yourself just strumming C. In fact, the 1, 4, 5 in C, which is 4 chord is F, and then G or a G7, back to C. Record yourself doing that, and then turn these patterns into music, which is adding rhythm, adding different sequence of notes. Maybe connect them. So, play around with that. Again, do a G. Here's G. Right? Pretty cool. So, and that actually will connect. So play around with that, but the whole thing starts here. Where am I? Yeah, so there you go. That's a really fun way of learning the fretboard. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. If you like it, hit the subscribe button. There's more where that came from. And don't forget about that 14-day free trial at guitarpass.com. All right, see you next time.